We are hearing SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM. Yesterday there was one very nice verse. When the soul is under the spell of material nature and false ego, identifying his body as the self, he becomes absorbed in material activities, and by the influence of false ego, he thinks that he is the proprietor of everything. When is soul under the spell of material nature and false ego? When the soul is averse to the service of Krishna. It is our responsibility. We are the cause why we are in Maya, no one else. It is not Krishna's desire. It is also not that Maya is forcefully catching us. No, it is we are the cause. We are responsible by the misuse of our relative independence. Being eternal servants of Krishna, we did not want to serve him, but we wanted to enjoy Maya, thinking by that we will be happy. So when we commit this offense to Supreme Lord, then as a result of this offense, then Maya catches us. And unless we correct this mistake, this offense, we cannot be rescued from Maya. So we have to submit to Krishna willingly, by our own will. No one else can rescue us forcefully. Krishna and Guru, Vaishnava Shastra, they are giving us proper knowledge and inspiration, encouragement, but we have to do that. Unless we do it, we cannot be rescued, because it is due to our free will that we also came into Maya. And when we are in Maya, then we think, I am this body, and all these things related to my body are mine. They are meant for me. That is total illusion. Because everything that is produced by material energy, it is Krishna's. Because in Gita, Krishna says, these 8 elements of material nature, they are parts of my lower energy, material energy. That is my energy, my Prakriti. Besides that, there is another Prakriti, another energy that is made of Jivas. That is also my energy. I am the master, proprietor. So all the products of material energy, they will automatically also be belonging to Krishna. I also, in my real self, I also am not my own. I cannot claim I'm own, I'm independent. I also belong to Krishna, I'm his energy. He is master, owner, and enjoyer. So all should be engaged in his service. But when Jiva is averse, then is in ignorance, then thinking this is mine. It is meant for my enjoyment. Then we get suffering as a result. Ambarish Maharaj, he had whole world. He was legal owner, but he didn't think this is mine. Then one can do chanting Harinam. Yesterday I told one of the offenses is to think in terms of I and mine. And when this false ego is there, then you will not have liking to chant Harinam, because you don't feel I belong to Krishna, I should serve him. So this mistake we have to rectify, and that is also not possible by own effort, in the sense that fully independent. By the grace of Shastra, means by proper knowledge and sadhu, they will give us proper knowledge and encouragement. Then we have to do. But unless we get this grace, we don't know what we have to do. What is my mistake and how I can rectify, and what is right activity. It is like doctor, he gives you prescription for medicine. I myself don't know what is my disease and which medicine is to cure my disease. I have to take shelter of doctor. He will examine and he will tell me, this is the medicine for you. You have to take it in this manner. So without this, from doctor's side, we cannot be cured. But also, if we don't take medicine as prescribed by doctor, also we cannot be cured. So both are necessary. Their grace, also our effort as per their instruction. Then we can be rescued. Tena samsara padavim avasho bhyeti anivritaha prasangike karma doshai sat asan mishra yonishu. The conditioned soul, therefore, transmigrates into different species of life, higher and lower, because of his association with the modes of material nature. Unless he is relieved of material activities, he has to accept this position because of his faulty work. See, again, it is karma dosha. It is my mistake, my wrong action. As long as I do wrong action, this will happen again and again. I cannot be relieved of material activities and this different species life, and birth, death, old age, disease is attached to material existence, and also threefold afflictions. That is why Sanatana Goswami, he asked Mahaprabhu why I'm suffering and how I can be happy. Then Mahaprabhu told, this is the reason and this is how you have to correct. That is, doctor is prescribing, but we have to do it. And this doing is also on many stages. Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana, Kriya, Anartha, Nivritti, Nishta. We have to do. On each level there is certain practice. And we have to do according to our eligibility, according to our qualification. Under the guidance of Guru, we cannot follow something which is above our qualification, and we should also not stay in lower qualification when we progress. Arte hyavidyamane pi sangsritirna nivartate. Dhyayato vishan asya swapne narta gamo yatha. See, this is very important. Actually, a living entity is transcendental to material existence, but because of his mentality of lording it over material nature, his material existential condition does not cease. And just as in a dream, he is affected by all sorts of disadvantages. Many times I told before, when someone is sleeping and in dream he's seeing tiger is eating him, his hand, leg, like this, and he's suffering in dream, but he's suffering, but in reality there is no harm to his body. When he wakes up, he will see it is all false, it is not true. So in this way, there can be no harm to Atma at any time. Atma is Satchidananda, Onu, little, but still Satchidananda. Nothing can harm Atma. But when Atma is absorbed in material nature and identifies with it, that is like a dream. And that dream we are getting suffering. But when you wake up, you realize I'm Atma, I'm not this movie. then there is no more suffering. That is why real devotees and Shastra, they are not trying to solve our problem by fixing our dream. Like, I'm very hungry, so you give me food to eat, and solving these material problems. That will not solve the suffering. How much philanthropic activities you may do, that will never end and can never satisfy the soul and cannot remove the actual suffering, and permanently cannot. So you have to wake up from that dream. Then there will be no more problem. That is why those who are realized souls and Krishna, when they're helping others, they're doing it from totally different platform. They may also give these material necessities for the sake of doing bhajan, but their point is to inspire you to surrender to Krishna. By surrendering to Krishna, this dream will be removed. Then there is no more problem forever and totally removed. But in any phase of Atma, there is no harm. That is why some are saying, if God is all merciful, if God is omnipotent, why he is allowing so much suffering in this world, and wars and epidemics and all these things? Because it is all like a dream only, and there is no actual harm to Jiva. We wanted, so we are getting these things. We wanted. But Krishna is so kind that he wants to rescue us from this dream. So how we can say that there is some fault in him? He made such lila because he's unlimited, but there is no real harm to Atma at any time. Even if we commit mistake, he will come to rescue us, and when we are rescued, then we will think, oh, that was like a bad dream. No real harm was done. At any time, there is no real harm. But we need to have a complete picture, then we can understand God's lila and why there is this suffering and so. Just as in a dream, he is affected by all sorts of and this here Sai Maharaj also telling, the example of a dream is very appropriate. Due to different mental conditions, in dreams we are put into advantageous and disadvantageous positions. Similarly, the spirit soul has nothing to do with this material nature, but because of his mentality of lording it over, means when we are averse to Krishna, he is put into the position of conditional existence. Yes. Here I will read. Yes, because the same point he's telling, but better. Conditional existence is described here as dhyato vishayan asya. Vishaya means an object of enjoyment. As long as one continues to think that he can enjoy material advantages, he is in conditioned life. But as soon as he comes to his senses, he develops the knowledge that he is not the enjoyer. For the only enjoyer is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, he is the beneficiary for all the results of sacrifices and penances, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam. And he is the proprietor of all three worlds, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Our Gurudev also gave that another verse. Aham hi sarvaya jnanam bhokta cha prabhur evacha. Krishna is saying, I'm the only master and I'm only enjoyer, I'm only proprietor of everyone and everything. If one can realize this, then there is no more suffering for him. Suffering is due to missing this knowledge. deviation from this knowledge. Then further, Sai Maharaj here is writing, he means Krishna is the actual friend of all living entities. But instead of leaving proprietorship, enjoyment, and the actual position as a friend of all living entities to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we claim that we are the proprietors, the enjoyers, and the friends. We perform philanthropic work thinking that we are the friends of human society. Someone may proclaim himself to be a very good national worker, the best friend of the people and of the country, but actually he cannot be the greatest friend of everyone. The only friend is Krishna. One should try to raise the consciousness of the conditioned soul to the platform of understanding that Krishna is his actual friend. If one makes friendship with Krishna, one will never be cheated and he will get all help needed. Arousing this consciousness of the conditioned soul is the greatest service. Not posing oneself as a great friend of another living entity. I'm doing all this good to you. Why you are misbehaving with me? We are having so much problems in these material relations because that is meant for that, to get problems. That is the purpose. So how we can solve that? It is impossible to solve. It is due to our selfish desires. We are entangled in this and we are suffering because of that. So real, and it is no one else's fault. We are always disturbed with others. We are blaming, he is guilty, because of all others, I am suffering. In material relations, we are always doing this, always blaming. But the reality is, I am suffering only due to my mistake. If I give up these selfish desires and start serving Krishna, then immediately there is no any problem. But we are not doing this, so we are in problem. But it is no one else's fault, and no one else can surrender to Krishna instead of you. No one. Guru cannot rescue anyone unless disciple does what he has to do. Krishna also does not interfere in the relative independence of anyone, any jiva. Otherwise, if he would, then jiva would not be jiva, it would be matter, dead matter, no free will, nothing. So Guru does not interfere, pure devotee does not interfere, Krishna does not interfere, Shastra does not interfere in what we want to do. Karma nivedikaraste ma paleshu kadachana. Krishna says to Jiva, to Arjuna, that is Jiva means to us. You have right or qualification to do any kind of action you want. That is your part. But you cannot get the fruits without me. I am the giver of fruits. So because of our wrong action, we are bound, and because of our right action, we can be liberated. So to encourage some jiva to accept the service of Krishna, that is actual compassion, not materialistic philanthropic activities, but to encourage. But we are not doing this. How? I myself am not engaged in the service of Krishna. It is not my target to satisfy Krishna. Then why I will encourage others? And how they can be encouraged? I myself am not doing. And even if we try to encourage someone, we may do sometimes for some my own benefit. Like, I am a great preacher. I brought so many to Krishna consciousness. I am a great preacher. So for my name and fame, I'm doing. I'm not doing to engage those jivas for the service of Krishna for his satisfaction, but for some my own purpose. Or for money, I collected so many followers. They are all giving donations. I'm guru. Then Guru Dakshina is necessary, according to Shastra, means donation to Guru, so I'm getting so much money. Name and fame, everything I'm getting, so I'm enjoying all these things. So that is not actual service of Krishna. But one who is sincere devotee, who is really himself engaged for the service of Krishna for his satisfaction, he can only be real preacher or real helper of others, real compassion. So if one makes friendship with Krishna, one will never be cheated. In this world we are all cheated because by others, because selfish interest is there in everyone, in every conditioned soul. Everyone is working for their own self-interest. There is no unconditional love in this, as long as false ego is there. Someone may think like that and imagine, dream like that and hope like that, but as long as false ego is there, there is no unconditional love. Everything is for your own purpose. And others also. So we are cheated and we are cheaters. But if you have relation with Krishna, sincere relation, actual relation, then Krishna will not cheat you because he has no any selfish interest. Krishna says in Gita, Nahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatim tata gachati. One who desires eternal welfare sincerely, kalyan, that is, what is eternal welfare means? Devotion to Krishna. Because by that jiva is benefited, ye atma suprasidati. Savai punksha paradharmo jatto bhaktir adokshaje. Dharma for all humanity, highest dharma, is service of adokshaja, Supreme Lord. Ahoituki apratihata ye atma suprasidati. If it is without any desires, ahoituki apratihata, and continuous, eternal, then that can satisfy the soul. So eternal welfare of the soul is devotion to Krishna. If one desires this, Krishna is telling he will never be cheated. Why? Because he is sincere. He is not cheating himself. Krishna is inside the heart. He knows what we want. If I am sincere, sincerity for jiva means service of Krishna. Nothing else, because that is constitutional position of jiva. Everything else is cheating. So if I am cheating myself, then I will be cheated. No one is to be blamed. Always there is fault in me, in no one else. Not in Krishna, not in Maya, not in others, no one. Fault is in me. So one will never be cheated by Krishna, and he will get all help needed. Arousing this consciousness of the conditioned soul is the greatest service. Not posing oneself as a great friend of another living entity. Our Parangurudev also told, real guru never thinks I'm guru. In the sense of, I am guru, these are my disciples, I am so compassionate to them, I am doing all this. No, with this ego, not. He's always thinking about the service of Krishna. So to satisfy Krishna, he's trying to bring souls for the service of Krishna. This is his service. And he's not thinking I'm proprietor of any of my disciples, I'm enjoyer like this. No, he's only serving Krishna. But if such false ego is there, I'm guru, then that cannot be greatest service. The power of friendship is limited. Although one claims to be a friend, he cannot be a friend unlimitedly. There are unlimited number of living entities and our resources are limited. Therefore, we cannot be of any real benefit to the people in general. The best service to the people in general is to awaken them to Krishna consciousness so that they may know that the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, and the supreme friend is Krishna. Then this illusory dream of lording it over material nature will vanish and all the problems with it. We cannot awaken this in others if I am sleeping. Awakened soul can awake other sleeping souls. Our Gurudev told, if all are sleeping, then who will awake who? One who is awakened, even one person, he can awake many others. Like that, the quality is important, not quantity. If you want quality, you have to sacrifice quantity in this world. If you want quantity, you will have to sacrifice quality. So one awakened soul can awake so many others. Like one scientist will invent one medicine. One scientist with his brain and his research and everything, and his invention will help so many others. So quality is important. Like that, one realized soul, one who is Krishna conscious, he is pure devotee of Krishna, he himself is engaged in the service of Krishna fully, awakened soul, he can awake others. It is not that just anyone can be guru or preacher or like this. But if under the order of awakened soul, you try to bring other jivas to Guru and to Krishna, then that will also be beneficial for them and for me. Or as Srila Sridhar Maharaj told, if we are practitioners, then we can help others also in this way. I am not fully cured. I'm not doctor, I'm not fully cured. But I'm taking this medicine. So I'm getting some relief already from disease. And I'm feeling I'm getting better and it is working. Although I'm not fully cured, but still I have already some experience. So with that sort of experience, we can encourage others that I also have this disease, but that doctor gave me this medicine I'm taking, it is working good. So you also try, you also take this medicine, you also come to this doctor. So we will encourage others to hear Harikatha, to chant Harinam, to come to darshan of deities and arati. Like this we help. But we should never have that false ego that I'm awakened soul, I'm realized soul, if I'm not. Ata eva shanaischittam prasaktam asatam pati bhakti yogena tivrena viraktya chanayedvasham. It is the duty of every conditioned soul to engage his polluted consciousness, which is now attached to material enjoyment, in very serious devotional service with detachment. Thus his mind and consciousness will be under full control. This is Kapil Bhagavan is telling to Mother Devahuti. She asked him how I can be rescued. Now Kapil Bhagavan is telling in this way, very serious devotional service with detachment. sincere, serious, means you have to do, it's not a joke, you have to do bhajan under the guidance of Guru and with detachment. You have to gradually give up all other desires. For that, Sadhu Sangha is helping us a lot. Also Shastra, studying of Shastra. Yes. Here Sai Maharaj is telling, the process of liberation is very nicely explained in this verse. The cause of one's becoming conditioned by material nature is his thinking himself the enjoyer, the proprietor or the friend of all living entities. This false thinking is a result of contemplation on sense enjoyment. Marginal jiva thinks, oh, let me enjoy. Like one deer in desert, he thinks, oh, there is water there. Let me get that water, but that is phantasmagoria. There is no real water there. But he goes due to ignorance. Like that, jiva, we want to enjoy. Then we get this false thinking. When one thinks that he is the best friend to his countrymen, to society, or to humanity, and he engages in various nationalistic, philanthropic, and altruistic activities, all that is just so much concentration on sense gratification. Someone may be sincere nationalist, he will think, my countryman should be good, so he's trying his best. Sincere, like if some politician, if he's sincere, or philanthropic, he's helping others. But nowadays, you will not find even such sincere people. In the name of national interest, they will cheat people. They will exploit people. In the name of hiding behind, like philanthropy, they will cheat people and totally harm them for their own selfish. Nowadays, there is one very famous philanthrope. Maybe you can understand who. So he's not philanthrope. He's a cheater, total cheater. But in the name of philanthropy, in the name of doing good to all, whole world will be benefited. So what to speak of such? Even if someone is real sincere philanthrope, he cannot help other conditioned souls, actually. Altruistic activities. That is also concentration on sense gratification. The so-called national leader or humanist does not serve anyone. He serves his senses only. Because out of false ego, he's thinking this will be beneficial to others. So in order to gratify his own senses, he is doing this kind of help. But this is still something better. At least knowingly, unknowingly, he may do some service to pure devotee who is staying in this world. They will get some sukriti. But nowadays in Kali Yuga, even such you will not find. A real national leader or real humanist or philanthropic. They will present as such, but in order to cheat people. So this is a fact. But the conditioned soul cannot understand this because he is bewildered by the spell of material nature. Not only this, national leader, humanist, philanthrope, altruist, all this. Even you have so many, Shiva is telling to Parvati, so many gurus, so-called gurus, in the dress of a guru and claiming we are guru, they are cheating people in Kali Yuga. Shiva is telling, Bhagavo, Guru, Bhagavo Guru, one verse in Padma Puran, they are claiming they're gurus, but they want to take money from their disciple. That is their guruship. But rarely you will find Devi in this world, a bona fide guru who will remove the suffering of a disciple. How is that possible? Here further. So, but the conditioned soul cannot understand this because he is bewildered by the spell of material nature. It is therefore recommended in this verse that one engage very seriously in the devotional service of the Lord. One who will encourage this, his real guru, like Swami Maharaj. He got so much opulence, but never misused anything. Any name and fame, any money, any ladies, nothing. He never abused. Why? Because he is serving Krishna only. He already got the taste of serving Krishna. How he can be attracted to something of this world sense enjoyment? That is disgusting for him. So he can arouse other sleeping souls to the service of Krishna. But you will find there were many gurus, but with other desires, so they could not do like him. They even gave up the practice of serving Krishna. So one engaged very seriously in the devotional service of the Lord. This means that one should not think that he is the proprietor, benefactor, friend, or enjoyer. Even in spiritual sense, this is my temple, I am guru, I am so beneficial to, if in false ego, you're thinking like this, then you will cheat yourself and others also. Everything belongs to Krishna, and it is meant for his service. He should always be cognizant that the real enjoyer is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the basic principle of Bhakti Yoga. One must be firmly convinced of these three principles. Convinced means realized in this. One should always think that Krishna is the proprietor, Krishna is the enjoyer, and Krishna is the friend. Not only should he understand these principles himself, and that is shown by his action, if really he understood or not. Whether he is really engaged in the service of Krishna or not 24 hours, that you have to see. Otherwise, he did not understand. Not only should he understand these principles himself, but he should try to convince others and propagate Krishna consciousness. So here it is very clear. Swami Maharaj is telling, first you should understand. And whether you understood or not, it is seen in your action. Then when you understand, then you should also try to convince others. As soon as one engages in such serious devotional service of the Lord, naturally the propensity to falsely claim lordship over material nature disappears. That detachment is called vairagya. Instead of being absorbed in so-called material lordship, one engages in Krishna consciousness. That is control of consciousness. The yoga process necessitates controlling the senses. Yoga Indriya Samyama. Since the senses are always active, their activities should be engaged in devotional service. One cannot stop their activities. If one wants to artificially stop the activities of the senses, his attempt will be a failure. Even the great yogi Vishwamitra, who was trying to control his senses by the yoga process, fell victim to the beauty of Menaka, heavenly one, Apsara. There are many such instances, like Sobari Rishi also. He was doing tapasya in water 10,000 years, but he also became attracted and he married 50 girls of King Mandata. But later he came to his senses and he understood his mistake and he corrected. He became devotee. Also his wives became devotees following him. Unless one's mind and consciousness are fully engaged in devotional service, there is always the opportunity for the mind to become occupied with desires for sense gratification. One particular point mentioned in this verse is very significant. Buddhists also, they try to stop their senses, stop their mind, but that is not possible permanently. Again, you will fall down. The proper way is to engage the senses and engage the mind in the service of Krishna, as Ambrish Maharaj did. Though householder, but he engaged SRIMAD Krishna Padaravindayor Vachangshi Vaikunta Gunanuvarnane. These are the two most important. SRIMAD Krishna Padaravindayor. He engaged his mind in thinking of the lotus feet of Krishna. And Vachangshi Vaikunta Gunanuvarnane. He engaged his tongue or speech for singing the glories of Vaikunta, means Supreme Lord, and his devotees. When our Gurudev was explaining this, he said there is no any scriptural prescription or instruction in Shastra to use speech to criticize others or to blame others. You will not find in any scripture. Our speech should be engaged for singing the glories of Supreme Lord and his devotees and good qualities in others. Only if there is some bona fide guru who has love for all jivas and for his disciples, in order to help his disciple, he may speak of some defects, but he will do it out of love to help that person improve, not for the sake of his own self-aggrandizement or name and fame or to belittle someone or that. He can do in appropriate way and that will be beneficial. Otherwise, there is no any such. So mind and speech, they have to be engaged in the service of Krishna, and also body. Then we can be rescued from Maya. Here it is written, Vishwamitra, he fell down. Sobari Rishi fell down. But Haridas Thakur did not. Even Maya herself came. He did not fall down because he was a real devotee. And his service was only to chant Harinam. He himself was chanting Harinam and he spoke the glories of Harinam to others, chanting. He did not open so many temples, translate so many books, Even he did not take Diksha, mantra Diksha. But he's Acharya. And he did not fall down. Not only he did not fall down, he made that prostitute a great devotee, pure devotee, and he initiated Maya Devi into Krishna Nam. So his example we have to follow. It does not require much, but sincere chanting, really, for the satisfaction of Krishna, that following his example we have to practice. One particular point mentioned in this verse is very significant. It is said here, prasaktam asatam pati. The mind is always attracted by asat, that is the temporary material existence. Because we have been associated with material nature since time immemorial, we have become accustomed to our attachment to this temporary material nature. The mind has to be fixed at the eternal lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Now, Save Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo. This is from Ambarish Maharaj. One has to fix the mind at the lotus feet of Krishna, then everything will be very nice. Thus, the seriousness of Bhakti Yoga is stressed in this verse. From time immemorial means Anadi Kal. We cannot remember how long back we became addicted by Maya. It is out of our thinking. And it is also out of material time, because we misused our relative independence above material time. So there is no start in material time. And also so long back we cannot think of. That is why it is called anadi, from time immemorial. But the point is that addiction is there. So it is not so easy to change that attachment, but it is not impossible. By the grace of Shastra and Sadhu, we have to start worshipping Krishna and go on with their encouragement. Gradually we can come out. We can change that attachment from being attached to material nature to attachment to Krishna. That needs seriousness of Bhakti Yoga, serious practice. Yamadibir yoga pater abhyasan shraddhayanvita mai bhavena satena mat kata shravanena cha. This is very important verse. Srila Maharaj used to explain also. One has to become faithful by practicing the controlling process of the yoga system and must elevate himself to the platform of unalloyed devotional service by chanting and hearing about me. Mai bhavena satyena mat kata shravanena cha. We have to hear about Krishna, and what we heard, we have to chant. That is the main process. Sarva bhuta samatvena nirvairena prasangataha brahmacharjena maunena swadharmena baliyasa. In executing devotional service, one has to see every living entity equally, without enmity towards anyone, yet without intimate connections with anyone. One has to observe celibacy, be grave, and execute his eternal activities, offering the results to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Devotee, he is not saying, I am Russian, you are Chinese, so I you are my friend. I am Russian, you are American, you are my enemy. Or I am Indian, you are Pakistani, you are my enemy. They don't see on this body platform. They see every living equally, in the sense that all are Atmas, Jivas, they are all coming from same Krishna. We are all related, sons and daughters of same father. So there is no enmity towards anyone based on bodily understanding. But also not intimate connection like friend. There is no enmity based on bodily consideration, also not intimacy. We are allies. You are American, so I am European, so we are allies. We are together against Russia. This kind of connection also they are not having. No enmity and no intimacy. Friendship based on bodily consideration. One has to observe celibacy, means not, celibacy does not mean only sensual, the sexual enjoyment. It means of all the senses. Should not have unrestricted enjoyment, only how much is necessary for the service of Krishna, taking prasad in that which is favorable for the service of Krishna, that one has to take. Be grave and execute his eternal activities. That is service of Krishna, offering the results to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the only enjoyer. Here also Sai Maharaj also telling, a devotee should observe the vow of celibacy. Celibacy does not necessitate that one be absolutely free from sex life. Satisfaction with one's wife is permitted also under the vow of celibacy. But under the guidance of a real devotee for gradual progress. A devotee should not speak needlessly. A serious devotee has no time to speak of nonsense. Yes, this means silent. All this he's explaining. Maybe day after tomorrow we can read this. Yes, very nicely Kapil Bhagavan is explaining here. Tomorrow is Chira Dadi Mahotsav of Raghunath Das Goswami. We'll hear about that. Then later on we can continue this. It is very important to hear so that we know what is to be done, and then we have to do also. We have to practice. Then we can get the result.